You're obviously crushing it as a remote closer, as a woman in sales.
Right now, I'm averaging about 10 to 12K a month in commissions. So I have my sights set to 25 to 30K. I always say, like, I got super lucky that I found Alex Beck because it could have been a lot worse for me.
All right, we have the lovely Victoria Havens. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How's it going with you, Alex?
I am doing well. I was super excited to do this interview because you're obviously crushing it as a remote closer, as a woman in sales. A lot of people think women can't, I mean, it's an industry that with sales in general is mainly dominated by men, right? But obviously you're doing really well. Could you give a breakdown, Victoria, of the current offer that you're on and what your monthly income looks like as a closer?
Yeah, 100%. So right now I am on an executive love coaching offer. So I help high caliber, successful older women find love every single day. So super, super niche, and I absolutely love it. And right now I'm averaging about 10 to 12K a month in commissions.
Okay, makes sense. Which isn't bad, right? Like obviously, we'll touch on a couple things like what you were doing before this, but what's been your biggest month on that offer?
Yes. So my biggest month was 13K.
13K. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
And then for both of us, we obviously meet together pretty frequently. We're going to be doing a lot of call reviews and so forth. Where do we want to see that commission and that income scale to?
Yeah, so I have my sights set to 25 to 30K. And yeah, I'm just very confident that that will be a reality very, very soon. So I'm excited for the journey because that's most important.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make it happen. So
Mhm.
cool. So before getting into remote sales, I guess, I mean, you pretty much started your remote sales journey with myself, right? So you
Yeah,
came into the space
in
with
October.
in October, right? So it's been
Uh-huh.
what was life like before you got into remote sales?
So before I got into remote sales, I was in the corporate world, W-2 worker, every single year I would get like a 2% merit increase. Granted, I was doing pharmaceutical sales, so I did very well for myself. But after 8 years of doing that, I was so like, I just felt so unfulfilled. I'm like, what's next? I would look at my managers and I'm like, oh my God, I just like don't want to be like any of these people. I want financial freedom. I want to work anywhere. So I left that all behind and I did door to door for a bit with my brother, which knocking 100 doors a day, let me tell you, it's not the most fun thing you could do with your
Yeah,
time. And then in October, I found high ticket and I'm never leaving the space.
100%. And for anybody watching, my computer's down here, my camera's up here, so I'll be glancing back and forth. But cool. So you came from the door-to-door space. I remember when we first started like speaking together, I told you that um, luckily you came from a more difficult space with door-to-door sales and you would just naturally do good in remote. Could
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about like the benefits of just your lifestyle in general that you're getting from being a remote sales rep?
Yeah. There's so many benefits. So I'll start with you're able to make your own schedule. You're able to be your own boss. You're a 1099 worker. So, you don't have any ties to anybody, which is really nice. Obviously, like you have your sales manager and all of those things, but like you bring your skills to the table, like you are the one driving revenue for a business, so you have the leverage there.
Yeah,
Compared to like when you're working a 9 to 5 job, like you have to take PTO, you have to leave your vacation early because you have to go back into the office and you don't have location freedom and you can't really work with your schedule because it's all built in. So those are like the main differences when it comes to the corporate world, or even like in door to door, you're like on the doors all day. Like who wants to do that?
yeah.
So those are like the main differences.
Yeah, plus, I mean, for everybody here, I was stalking. Victoria was just in Cabo
Hmm.
earlier this week, kind of enjoying life, which would have been a little bit more difficult, really in any industry, any in-person job, but especially doing door to door.
Yeah. I was in Cabo, and then the week before that I was in the Bahamas, and then the week before that I was in Washington State. So I've been
Yeah.
all over. I would have gotten fired because I wouldn't have enough my PTO bucket would have been negative.
Yeah, for sure. Did you work when you were traveling? Did you work while you were
Mhm.
traveling, or did you just take some time off?
Oh yeah. So I turned my schedule on when I had some, solid days being where I needed to be. And then travel days, I just turned my schedule off.
There you go. Oh yeah. So for people maybe watching this, even if you're newer, right? The cool thing with this is like calls get booked into your calendar as a remote closer. Therefore, you control when the calls get booked in. So, like for me, I pick up my daughter every Thursday at 2 p.m. So Thursdays for me, I'm done with work at 1 p.m. But if I want to open up my Saturday, I can open up Saturday. Or for Victoria's case, sorry,
Mhm.
Victoria's case, when she's traveling, she could turn her calendar on, turn her
Yeah.
calendar off, however it works. So
Yeah. For girls, like when you're not feeling like you want to, I don't know, you're just like not in the mood to work, like whatever, like you just turn your calendar off and then you're able to kind of like take a rest day.
yeah,
The girls know what I'm talking about.
yeah. I mean, another thing that helps with that too is obviously Victoria does really well, so she always still performs to where I'm sure her sales manager is just like, yeah, do your thing, right? But
Yeah, like be responsible,
yeah,
right? But it's nice to have the option.
yeah, for sure. We'll say this too. It's one thing to commit to wanting to go to this space and get into remote sales. It's another thing to actually get help with it and then commit to that.
Yeah.
What made you actually take the leap and move forward to with us working together?
So in my mind, I knew I was going to get into high ticket. So before I tried to do all of it on my own and like figure it out, the first thing I was like, that I need to do was get a mentor. Step one.
Yeah,
Because why would I try to waste all this time trying to figure it out? I don't know. I don't really even know what the sales process looks like. Like, I don't even know where to find the jobs, how to apply, like how to interview for any of that. So I, scoured the internet, and there's a lot of people out there that, they're just not authentic sales mentors that say that they've been in high ticket for X amount of time and they're not even taking calls or haven't taken calls actually ever. I know a couple of them, but
yeah,
um so yeah, I would say that I found you and I was like, oh, done.
yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I think we've talked on this before, and we could both agree. And we don't need to go on a rant on it, but there's a lot of people who say they're making a certain amount of money with high ticket sales when they never really have, and
Yeah.
that whole jazz.
I was like so naive too. Like I didn't even know. So I always say like I got super lucky that I found Alex Beck because it could have been a lot worse for me because I
Yeah,
didn't really do my due diligence as well, but
yeah,
it worked out. Most important thing is that I took action.
for sure. Yeah, and I think you mentioned this, but people may not know too. Not only did you look at other programs, but you've also been a part of other programs
Mhm.
or sales. What stuck out about like what you're getting through me that's different from other people?
Yeah, so there's so many different types of programs out there, but what I would say how I learned the best is like through one-on-one, where I'm able to come to you and like we're sitting down and we're reviewing calls and like we're able to go through it and then we're role playing together and then that's it.
Yeah,
That's how I get the most bang for my buck because you can go on and you can digest thousands of hours of modules from courses and like all this stuff. But at the end of the day, like what really helps is being able to conceptualize and then get your calls reviewed and then role play throughout that process. So you're constantly getting better. You know where you went wrong and you can move forward. So that's the difference. I think is like you set aside time to like do that.
yeah.
Um,
For sure. I mean, super important being on a constant feedback loop for yourself. I mean, that's what helped me progress quickly with sales. And so, like, why not replicate the same process that helped me, plus you and a bunch of other people as well?
mhm.
Um, but cool. Did you, plus, funny thing to mention, you mentioned this the other day.
What?
Which side note, right? I would, there's a couple times where you'd be crying, stressing on a
Crying?
call. And yeah, so
Yeah, like that's the other thing is like anytime anytime I would freak out or whatever, it's like, okay, I'll call Alex back. All right, you send me the calendar. We got on a one-on-one. You showed me exactly what I was doing wrong, like able to implement. You're not like able to do that in really big courses or really big types
yeah,
of communities. And I just, truly, like from the bottom of my heart, like just appreciate you always being there.
Of course. Did you have another good question? Did you have any concerns before coming into work with myself?
Um, Not really. Like I no, I genuinely didn't have concerns. Maybe it's because I was so naive. I was like so new to this space. I think the main concern was like, will this work for me?
Yeah.
But no, I didn't have any concerns and I was right.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Which is a good thing, we'll take it. I was seeing maybe if you had any concerns, but with that, what's life like now? Now we're like 4 months in, yeah, more like 6 months into your sales journey. What is life
yeah,
now compared to how it was before?
I think the number one thing that I've seen within myself is like I've just grown so much as a just on a personal level and as a sales professional. Um to see like I wish we had honestly, Alex, I wish we had some of my older calls. Like to see what the to see those compared to like now and like just my success like that I've had,
Yeah,
night and day difference. And yeah, I looking back, I'm just like really proud to that I took the leap and I just did it. And yeah,
yeah,
growth,
of course.
but
Yeah, that's
always learning.
always learning. Sales growth,
Mhm.
like personal growth, is super cool with sales as well. And then obviously, like being able to live a better lifestyle compared to like probably what you were doing before, and it was the same thing for me as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I look at, a lot of my coworkers and colleagues, like they're always hitting me up, like, how is everything? And it's obviously like you don't want to like convince,
Oh,
hey, because they see like that I'm out of the corporate world and it's really hard to leave the corporate world when,
yeah,
you've got the golden handcuffs. Um, so yeah, it's just a night and day difference.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad that you're crushing it. I'm glad you're doing well. Maybe we'll do another check-in once you hit your first 25K month here in the next couple months. But I
Let's
appreciate
do a
you.
check-in when we hit 20,
Okay, we'll do that.
because it's
Another 20
coming.
check-in. But cool. Appreciate you. And then Victoria Havens, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. And there we have it. Now, if you made it through this entire interview, chances are you're probably interested in getting into high ticket sales, but maybe you haven't taken the leap like Victoria did. So, lucky for you, I created a training video just for people like yourself. So, if you scroll down in the description, it should be the first link that you see there. Go ahead and click on it. Hopefully, this helps. And as always, once you learn to sell, you will never starve.